G'day everyone, what is going on? It is your favorite producer from Down Under, Jhin, back with another video. And I made you guys a free sample, and in this video I'm actually going to be deconstructing how I made that sample for you guys. But yeah, if you are new here, would greatly appreciate it if you punch that subscribe button, and also flick that little notification bell so you get notified every single time I upload a video. But with that being said, let's get into FL Studio, and let's deconstruct this sample. Okay, so here we are in FL Studio, and to begin with, when it came to making this sample, I wanted to go down the path of making something dark. It's something that I've been making a lot recently. I love those dark ambient or dark orchestral samples, so that is exactly what I did here. To begin with, I had this preset and expand called the Hard Grand Piano. It is underneath the acoustic piano bank, and I just laid a really simple pattern in the key of C sharp harmonic minor. In context, it sounds like so. It is a really simple foundation to the rest of this sample. We literally just have this C sharp 5 playing throughout the whole chord progression, the whole melody. Then we have this G sharp going into the A. Now it is a little bit off grid if I'm to zoom in. As you can see, it's not perfectly playing on every downbeat. There are some upbeats where it's playing. That just kind of gave it a little bit more rhythm, and it's something that I personally like doing with a lot of my samples, is just, you know, not make it everything be perfectly on beat. It just allows it just to feel a bit more human, just give it a bit more rhythm. In regards to the bass, we have it going from C sharp down to A to the G sharp, just because it sounded quite nice. But with the chords, really simple. We just have 2-note chords because I personally felt that once I added the third note, the middle note, it gave it a bit too much of an emotional feel, and that's not what you want when it comes to making dark beats. You want them to sound sinister, you want them to sound evil. So I literally just got rid of that middle note right here and just change the top note. This G sharp goes into the A, to the F sharp, back to the G sharp, and then it repeats for the next 4 bars. It's just really simple, straight to the point. Once I had that one down, I knew the next sound that I wanted was a bell, and my go-to bell inside of Expand is this Music Box preset. Now, it's just playing a simple arpeggio, which sounds like so in context. Now it just repeats itself over for the next 4 bars, but in regards to effects with that one, we do have a Valhalla vintage verb coming in with a mix of 40% decay of 1 second and a low cut of 200. Then we have Retrograde by Simon Savita. This plugin comes in, we've got it on ping pong, set to a mix of 30, just so it kind of bounces between the left and right headphones and it does reverse itself. We do have Halftime on with a mix of 28 on the 8th step right here, just to fill up some of that low end and just yet again give it some more rhythm. Then just an EQ, getting rid of all of the lows, just so you know it has its own pocket. But going on to the next element right here, it is from it's actually from Arcade. We have this Rigor Mortis bank from the Nightmare series coming in. We have 2 instances of that one, and the first one is just playing this right here. It's literally just a foley of someone dragging a shovel along the ground. Now I did pan that one 40% to the right, and for the next Arcade, which comes from the Rigor Mortis bank as well, we have this one panned 60% to the left, just to make it feel a little bit more wider, a little bit more full compared to the rest of the track. But this one right here, like I said, it's the exact same bank, Rigor Mortis from the Nightmare bank, and it just sounds like so in context. That one is a bit more lower, it's a bit more in the low frequencies, while the other shovel is a bit more higher up. It's got a bit more of that tenor range. But yeah, just literally have that to fill in some of those frequencies. Then we have another Expand coming in. This one is just the harp and strings preset from the strings bank, but I just turned off the harp, so we have the big soft strings plus playing, and that one's just playing 1 note. It's just playing C sharp 7, sounds like so. It's thin, narrow, pretty whiny, but it actually fills up those high frequencies really well. It was the last thing that I needed in order to fill up the high frequencies. But last but not least, we do have another arcade coming in. This one is the Haunting Petals from Distant Voices, and it's just playing a really simple pattern. It's just a couple of vocal samples. Once I laid this one down, it actually gave it a little bit more of a Middle Eastern sort of vibe. Like you would hear this while there's camels going across the desert or something like that. So it went from going to dark to kind of Middle Eastern dark, but I liked how it sounded. Going on to the effects for everything. Expand, we just have a Valhalla Vintage Verb, Fruity EQ just cutting out some of the lows and some of the highs. This arcade, we just have an EQ getting rid of all of the lows. We have another arcade. This one is just EQ'd out yet again, giving it its own pocket. With this expand, an EQ. This is the violin. I boosted up boosted up the highs quite a bit because without that, it actually was severely quiet and lacking in the mix. And then last but not least, with the vocals, we have a Portal coming in with the Radial Flutter preset. With that one set on to 60 with the wet dry. We have a Valhalla Vintage Verb, mix on 40, decay on 0.8, low cut of 150. Vox stereo just to kind of compress it because without it, it was actually really quiet in the whole mix and we needed that one in so it would actually kind of sound quite loud with everything else playing. Last but not least, an EQ getting rid of the lows so there's no muddiness with that low end. Then we have everything routed to a melody bus, which is this Insert 7 right here. RC20 with the preset called Tri-Freeze. Now, I've made this, and if you want to copy it, I'll be leaving it down in the description down below. It's practically the go-to preset for the YouTube producer known as Tri-Freeze. So I literally just copied that from his YouTube videos and just made it a preset. If you want to copy it, be down in the description. We have a Vintage Chorus coming in, which is just a default preset, but I've turned the mix down to 12%. And I've also turned the Master Wet Dry to 40%. With the Fruity Flanger, default preset, I just turned the master down to 60%. We have another halftime coming in. The mix level of that one on the master is 30%, but the mix over here is 11. It's just your default. I just took out some of the low end and some of the high end as well. Last but not least, just another EQ just to tidy it up because it did suddenly get a little bit muddy in the low registries, but I wanted to just tidy that one up so it's easier for you guys to use. Now, I do please ask if you do make a beat with this one, add me as a collaborator on BeatStars 50-50 split. It's the exact same name as here, just drop the TV at the end of it. But yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you'll make something really dope with this sample, and I'll catch you all next week for another video.